Okay, formulas are just equations that have two or more pronumerals. What's a pronumeral?
A number.
No.
So
A letter. Excellent. So
Same.
pronumerals are letters. So we're going to have two or more letters. We're going to look at what we do with those. The first two here are really simple examples where we're simply going to substitute and solve. So the equation has three different letters in here. I've got an S, an A, and an R. Got three letters, but I'm told what two of them are. So it's really simple. All I do is I replace the letters with the numbers that I was given. And then I don't have three letters anymore. And that solves the problem. So I have an S. I don't know what the S is. I'm going to leave that as an S. Oops, I'll just change it to a pen. I have an A on top, but the question tells me that A is 3. So instead of writing A, put those away, I'm going to put a 3. On the bottom, I have a 1 minus R, but the question tells me that R is 0.4. So I just write 1 minus 0.4. That's really simple. All I do now is pick up a calculator and I type in, when I'm not in stat mode,
5.
3 over 1 minus 0.4. That tells me the answer is 5. You're fast.
Spoiled.
That's it. So in the second one, E equals a half mv squared, I'm given the m and I'm given the v. So to find E, I'm simply going to replace each of them. Now, in the equation, there's nothing between the half and the m, but I know what's there. What is it?
5 squared.
A multiplication. Okay, so it's a half multiplied by m, which is a 4, multiplied by v, which is a 5. So make sure you remember when you're putting the numbers back in, you're putting the multiplication symbols back in. So what do we get?
50.
50. So both of those, when I substituted it in, it was just a matter of calculating the answer. Sometimes when I substitute it in, it's not going to be the letter that's on its own out the front that is missing. What was the name of this letter? It has a special name.
E. C.
No, not E. In general, the letter on its own out the front, what's it called? The subject. Okay? So the subject of the equation is not always the one that's missing. In which case, I have to work a little bit harder. So I'm given this equation. We should recognise this equation. It's the area of a trapezium. Area equals half HA plus B. In this time, it's not the capital A that's missing. I'm told that that's 12. But I'm still going to start off the same. I'm going to start by replacing all the letters with the numbers in the question. So I'm going to replace that capital A with a 12, because that's what it told me.
Okay.
Between the half and a H, I'm going to add in a multiplication. The H was given to me. It's a 4. Brackets. The A is given to me. It's 5. The B is not given to me. Okay, is everyone happy with what I did there?
No.
I just went through the formula and every letter that I was given a number for, I replaced it. So now I need to solve for B. The first thing I'm going to do is what? What do you think the first thing I should do is?
Do the half times 4.
What's a half of 4? So that will make it look prettier?
2.
So that's going to look much prettier if I do that.
And plus 5.
Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
What should I do next?
Divide everything by 2.
There's 2 options. Excellent. That's a nice option. I have 2 choices here. Either I expand my brackets, or I divide by 2 and then I don't have to expand the brackets. So let's get rid of the 2 instead. So if I divided both sides by 2, I get a 6 over here. Boys. And I've just got a 5 plus b. Is everyone happy with that? Instead of expanding the brackets, I divided by 2. If you expand the brackets and go down that path, you will get the same answer. So don't stress if you chose that way. What's the last step?
Just subtract it.
Subtract
6 and 5.
5. Okay, so what do I get as my b?
1.
b is 1. So in that question, from my formula, when I put my numbers in, I then just had to solve an equation. Okay, so that's more likely what I would give you in a test. Practice is more skills. Now, changing the subject. I know we've done this before, but I feel we're not as awesome as we could be at it. Okay, so we're going to revisit it. Changing the subject is sometimes known as transposing an equation. So if a question says transpose to make B the subject, you need to know it means change to make B the subject. Can we cope with the word transpose?
Change is good.
Think we can cope with that? Okay. Do I have to confiscate that? I'm pretty sure you should be writing these examples down or taking some sort of notes to help you remember. Okay, so I've got two equations here and we're going to transpose them or change the subject to B. So in that first one, B is in the brackets there. I need to get rid of the A and the X. Now, it would be much better to get rid of the A first instead of expanding it out because I'm putting more things on the B. So I'm going to get rid of the A first. How do we get rid of the thing inside the front of the brackets?
Times everything. Oh, no.
The opposite of times.
Divide.
Divide, yep. Because currently it is timesing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so to get rid of it, we're going to divide. Now, if I divide by A, how would I write C divided by A? C over A, because over, the fraction symbol means division. Are we good with that? Yep. So C over A. Is everyone happy with that? That means divided by A?
Yes.
So on this side, I'm now just left with X plus B.
We're gonna minus X.
I want the X on its own, so I'm going to subtract the X. So on this side, I can't combine them because they're all just letters. So I'm going to have C minus A, so C over A minus X is equaling B. Now, I don't like it that way because it looks weird. It's just a little bit OCD. I really like the B at the front. So I'm going to rewrite it. I know I'm not changing anything, but it just looks so much nicer this way.
It doesn't.
It does. Doesn't that look prettier?
It doesn't.
Are you? Okay.
Pointless.
So I have B out the front with C on A minus X. All right, let's look at this example over here. Remember we had the discussion the other day that the squareds and the square roots would not cancel because the terms are separate, so they're not all squared. So what should we get rid of first and how? Any ideas? So I want the B on its own, but I've got this square root over the top that's being very annoying. Square everything, okay? Because the opposite of a square root is a squared. Yep.
Isn't it just square rooting squares? So you can just take away this.
No.
We had this big discussion the other day.
Can't do that, Zach.
Did you not watch the video?
Quiet. Okay, remember we talked about the square root of A squared plus B squared does not equal A plus B.
Come on, Zach, pick one.
Because A plus B, when you square it, gives me A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. There's this extra bit in the middle that stuffs it up. Okay, so you can't square root it back. They don't cancel. Okay? Alright, now to get rid of the square root, we're going to put a square on both sides of the equation. Okay? On this side, the squared and the square root are going to cancel because the squared's outside the whole thing. So I've got C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Looking kind of familiar there. Okay? Now, what do I move next? I'm going to move the A squared by minusing it. Are you right, boys?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do C squared. I'm going to minus the A squared. And I've got B squared on its own. Now to get rid of the squared, square root. Now normally when I square root I have to write a plus or minus. Do I have to this time? Why not?
Because it says B is larger than.
Because it says B is bigger than 0. So I don't need to say plus or minus. Normally I do, but because of this I don't need to. And again I'm going to stick the B out the front just because it's prettier. And I'm going to have the square root of C squared minus A squared. Everyone happy with that?
Let's look this back to the beginning.
I know, how cool is that? We did all that work and it looks the same. Wasn't that fun? Alright, your turn to do some questions.
It's so boring.
I think we did re-explain all that.